what I would try to say is, if you want to vote for a particular party, which is on the ballot, or by all means do it, because you're lucky that you've got someone you want to vote for.
Yes.
But a lot of us don't have someone we want to vote for, and none of the above is not an option. And so if those people don't have someone who they can vote for, they are quite within their rights to take their vote home.
Yes.
And
yes.
it's no law against it, no matter what they'll try to tell you. There's no law. And there's another thing here, which is an added incentive, because I'm getting desperate in the sense of getting my message out.
Yes.
That if you record it sufficiently and retain the evidence sufficiently, if they force you into putting it into the ballot box, you will have a right for compensation and because of an infringement of your human rights. So it might be a worthwhile exercise that you may be able to subsequently sue the presiding officer.
You must find yourself in kind of a weird position, because is there absolutely no party that you would vote for? Because I think you did try Labour, Liberal before you stood or tried to stand as candidates like that. Is there nobody out there now that you want to vote for?
Yeah, that is the case. But if none of the above was an option on the ballot paper, which I think should be the case, but until such times as none of the above is on the ballot paper, then the only other option for someone who feels like I do is to take their vote home. Fiction.
What was the core reason that you started that? Because this has been actually like a thing that you've done for many years now. Was there a point of disgust or something that you just thought, I can't do this anymore?
I tell you what, I feel like someone on a motorway or on a dual carriageway going one way and everybody else coming in the opposite way. And I'm saying, we've got it wrong. I'm a lone voice, and it has occurred to me, but I may be totally deluded. I accept that. I could be suffering from the pugilistic cognitive decline. But I am actually right on this. But it's getting the message across. And that's an uphill struggle. What becomes apparent is nothing has really changed. And the only way you can get a real meaningful change within the current system, or feel that you've made an effort or made a dent, it's a flea against an elephant, is to take your vote home. If, of course, there's no one there you genuinely want to vote for. So, I'm not knocking people who vote. They're lucky that they've got someone who they feel represents them. But most people, I believe, don't feel that they represent them, but they haven't got any other choice of having to choose the least bad or stay at home. But by staying at home, their silence is taken as consent. You would make a difference. If the next day, if enough people did what I'm sort of advocating, then the people who were normally disempowered would become empowered. And the people who are disenfranchised would be given a voice. And there's no doubt about that. But you need to have the confidence to be able to go to the polling station and say to the polling staff, you are wrong. You are. I'm taking my vote home, and you are infringing my human rights.
So it's not the same then if you just stay at home, and I think they're all the politicians are disgraceful, that's not registering the way that you want it done.
No, the silence is taken as consent. But this sort of abstaining is the best way of putting it. But you're getting there. You're going to the polling station and you're saying none of the above effectively. That's it. And if it becomes a bigger movement and people start following it, this could be a rerun for the January or a rehearsal for the January election. But if it was to become a big thing, then the politicians would have to sit up and take notice and do something about it. But until that time comes, they won't do it because turkeys don't vote for Christmas. That's the reality of the situation.
Well, Terry, I wish you the best of luck with this, because you are a maverick. You're kind of like, you're standing up. Is that a natural position to find yourself in? Have you always been like that you stand on your own and want to move something in a different direction? Have you always been like that?
Well, no, not really. I was voting like everybody else, and I just actually realised at one stage that the voting of two cheeks to the same arse. And
Yeah. Yeah.
there is another little thing. If we have to go back to Alf Garnett, perhaps.
Yes.
He used to say in one of his monologues that he'd lived under 7 prime ministers or something, and he's been poor under every one of them. And it was something that stuck in my mind when I was a kid. And we've overlapped with a few of the prime ministers,
Yeah.
Thatcher, Heath,
Yes.
Wilson. And the point is, I think I've lived under 14 prime ministers.
Yeah.
And generally, the communities which I live in under them 14 prime ministers have, like Alf Garnett, have been poor under the lot.
Yeah.
And so the way that they try to do elections and under the pretense of democracy, it just doesn't wash. But I can say I'm now 60 years of age. So I've been voting for, well, you do them, and 50 years.
Yeah.
But I used to follow it as I used to watch the party election broadcasts, and it was sad, really, and party and all them sorts of things. Alf Garnett's, I know he's a fictional character, but there's plenty of Alf Garnett's around at the time who could go back another 50 years. So we're covering 80 years of elections, and nothing really changes. And that's the reality. And I'm saying to myself, well, what can I do as in the most efficient way of being able to do something, as opposed to banging my head up against the brick wall? Although my dear brother, bless him, thinks that I am banging my head up against the brick wall, and he's going to suggest that he'll put a wall in the garden so that I can do it every time an election comes around. But yeah, there's got to be another way, and it's got to be through politics. I believe that, but I think the politics we're getting at the moment is not in the best interest of the vast majority of the people in the country.
I think that is a really well put, constructive argument, because it doesn't work. Everybody's getting poorer. I cannot see in my lifetime, I'm probably similar age, a bit older maybe, of any improvement. To me, it just gets worse and worse and worse. So I totally agree. So I think it's a very valid argument to just say, actually, I'm walking out with my ballot paper, and because I just disagree with the whole system. Whether you're going to get people to do that, because I think people are still so apathetic in this country politically. There's sort of a few million people that are actively engaged, and then a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just not interested. Do you have faith in the British people that they might suddenly cotton on and, revolt, as it were?
I have to look myself in the mirror every night, and as long as I'm doing my bit, then I'm quite relaxed by it in a roundabout sort of way, which is not an ideal position to be in. It's because it's like sort of a virtual signalling in some sense. I don't intend it to be that, but I can only do what I'm doing, and I can only do so much.
Yeah, you shouldn't knock yourself, Terry, because you're actually standing up on a principle which very few people left in the world have principles. So you're actually just standing up on a principle, saying this is wrong, it's not benefiting anybody. So I'm making a stand, and I think I admire anybody that does that. I think it's fantastic. So we wish you luck. If there's anybody watching this, it's up to you, folks. If you want to go out and do what Terry did, I think it's a very interesting. If you're dissatisfied like him, which I think most people are, that is an option for you at the ballot box, isn't it? Terry's great. Follow his example if you fancy doing it, and because the election's coming up very, very shortly, so make that choice when you get in there, whether you're going to walk out with your ballot paper. And good luck, Terry, when you do this time, and then hopefully you won't have to nobble somebody on the way out.